The greatest obstacle to realizing the monad is not ignorance. It's the seeker. Because the one who is searching believes the monad is somewhere else. Somewhere higher, somewhere beyond this moment, somewhere hidden behind enough effort. But the monad is not a prize waiting at the end of becoming. It is not hiding from you. It is not testing your worthiness. It is not sitting at the top of some spiritual mountain, waiting for the most disciplined mind to finally arrive. The reason the seeker cannot find the monad is simple. The seeker is built out of the very sense of separation that veils it. And as long as that structure remains unquestioned, every attempt to reach truth will only reinforce the illusion that truth is elsewhere. That is the trap. The seeker does not move toward the monad. The seeker moves in circles around what has never been absent. When people begin walking a spiritual path, the search often feels noble. It feels sincere. It feels alive with meaning. You want truth. You want reality. You want freedom from illusion. You want to know what is ultimate. On the surface, that sounds pure. And in one sense, it is. The longing for truth is not the problem. The problem begins when that longing gets translated through the mind into a project of self-achievement. Then spirituality becomes another journey of becoming, another identity, another ladder, another future, another subtle form of self-concern wearing sacred clothing. And this is where many seekers become trapped without realizing it. They think they are moving toward the monad, but what they are often doing is strengthening the one who believes it is separate from it. So in this video, we're going to break this down clearly. We will look at why the seeker cannot find the monad, how the search itself can become the veil, why effort alone does not reveal what is already whole, and what begins to shift when the need to arrive starts to fall away. Because the deepest realization is not that you finally found the monad. It is that what you are has never been apart from it. The seeker begins with the assumption, I am here, and truth is over there. That assumption is rarely spoken out loud, but it is embodied in the whole movement of seeking. It creates a center called me, and a goal called awakening, and then it places distance between them. That distance is the whole problem. The monad is not an object. It is not a location. It is not something that can be approached the way the mind approaches information, status, or personal growth. The moment you imagine it as something to obtain, you have already turned it into an object within duality. And once that happens, the search becomes trapped inside the very structure it is trying to transcend. The seeker says, I will get there. But who is this I? Usually, it is the psychological self-image, the one made of memory, comparison, fear, ambition, hope, hurt, and self-reference. It may become spiritual, refined, or disciplined, but it is still operating as a center that experiences itself as separate. So even when it seeks the highest truth, it does so as a divided self. That divided self cannot grasp the undivided. Not because it is bad, not because it is unworthy, but because separation cannot think its way into wholeness. The seeker assumes distance, and then spends years trying to cross that distance that was never real in the first place. This is why the search can become exhausting. You keep moving, but something essential never resolves. You collect teachings, practices, language, yet the ache remains. Why? Because the one doing the search is built from the belief in lack. And whatever is built from lack will keep recreating lack, even in the name of God. Another reason the seeker cannot find the monad is because the mind keeps trying to reduce it into an experience. It wants something dramatic, a cosmic light, a total collapse of thought, a supernatural event. And there is nothing wrong with powerful experiences. Some can be beautiful. Some can be transformative. Some can even break open the mind and reveal a deeper dimension of reality. But no experience is the monad itself. Why? Because experiences come and go. They appear, they intensify, and then they fade. Even the most sacred state still has a beginning and an end when seen through time. The mind then does what it always does. It remembers the experience, turns it into a benchmark, and starts chasing it again. Now the person is not just seeking truth, they are seeking a repeat, and that's another trap. The monad is not a passing state appearing to someone. It is prior to the whole structure of subject and object, prior to the experiencer and the experience, prior to the movement of grasping and losing. But the seeker wants something they can feel and confirm, something they can say happened, something they can use as proof. And that desire for proof keeps consciousness entangled in the field of appearances. This is why so many seekers are secretly addicted to spiritual highs. Not because they're foolish, but because the mind feels safer when truth becomes something measurable. If you can measure it, compare it, and talk about it, then the separate self still gets to remain in control. But the monad is not there to satisfy the self's need for confirmation. It is what remains when the entire structure of psychological ownership begins to lose its grip. This is where the path becomes especially subtle. A person can spend years reading sacred text, meditating daily, purifying their life, and still remain trapped in the identity of being the one who is on the path. That identity can feel meaningful. It can even feel elevated. But it is still an identity. And identity always depends on contrast. If I am the seeker, then there must be something I have not yet attained. This is why the ego can survive inside spirituality so easily. It simply changes clothes. Instead of being the worldly self, it becomes the spiritual self. Instead of saying, I am better than others because of money, it says, I am more conscious. Instead of chasing status through success, it chases status through purity, insight, and discipline. And all the while, the searcher remains intact. That's the danger. Because the more refined the search becomes, the harder it can be to notice that it is still organized around me. The seeker often believes that the path is dissolving the self, while in reality, it may be decorating it. That does not mean practice is useless. It means practice must become honest. You have to see when the search is being used to preserve the one who fears disappearing. You have to notice when spirituality becomes self-continuity disguised as transcendence. The seeker cannot find the monad because the seeker wants to remain the one who finds it. And that is the one thing that cannot come with you. Most of human life is structured around becoming. Become more successful. Become more attractive. Become more respected. So naturally, the mind imports that same pattern into the sacred. Now even realization becomes a future event. But the monad is not waiting in the future. The future is one of the primary ways the separate self postpones the truth. Because as long as realization belongs to tomorrow, the seeker gets to continue as a seeker today. That is the hidden bargain. I will keep searching, and one day I will reach it. But that sentence protects the sense of self more than it reveals the truth. It allows the mind to remain in motion without ever having to confront the possibility that what it seeks is already the case, and that the real issue is not distance, but misidentification. The monad is not realized by becoming something else. It is realized through the falling away of the false assumption that you are something separate to begin with. That is a very different movement. It is not acquisition. It's exposure. It's not construction. It's exposure. It's not self-improvement. It's exposure. So what is exposed? The constant habit of identifying with thought. The habit of taking the mental self-image to be what you are. The habit of turning reality into an object for the mind to possess. When these habits begin to loosen, something becomes obvious that was hidden in plain sight. What you were searching for was never absent. It was only obscured by the movement of becoming. The seeker cannot find the monad, because becoming cannot touch what is prior to time. This does not mean that you force yourself to stop seeking. That just becomes another strategy. You cannot bully your way into truth by pretending not to search. You cannot create a new identity called the one who has dropped the seeker. That is still the same pattern wearing different language. What matters is seeing clearly. Seeing the mechanics of the search. Seeing the restlessness. Seeing the assumption of lack. Seeing the hope that fulfillment is elsewhere. Seeing the subtle self that wants to survive enlightenment and report back with a trophy. That kind of seeing changes everything. Because when something false is deeply seen, it begins to lose its power. Then the search starts to quiet, not because you adopted a new belief, but because the engine of seeking is no longer being fed in the same unconscious way. In that quieting, there can be a very simple but profound shift. Not an explosion, not a performance, not a mystical badge. Just a plain, undeniable recognition that reality is already present before the mind comments on it. That being is already here before thought divides it. That awareness does not need to become aware. That the ground of all experience is not absent and never was. This is why humility matters so much on the path. Not performative humility, but real humility. The humility to admit that the mind cannot master the absolute. The humility to stop trying to possess what can only be obscured by possession. The humility to let truth be what it is, rather than what the seeker wants it to be. And in that humility, something relaxes. The separate self is no longer at the center, trying to grab the infinite. There's just this moment, this being, this ungraspable presence that no concept can contain and no seeker can own. That is closer to realization than all the desperate effort in the world. So why can't the seeker find the monad? Because the seeker begins with separation, moves through desire, depends on becoming, and tries to turn the absolute into something attainable. But the monad is not an achievement for the separate self. It is not found by moving farther into the search. It is revealed when the structure of seeking is seen for what it is. The irony is that the longing for truth can begin the journey. But at a certain point, the one who claims ownership of that journey must be seen through. Otherwise, the search just becomes another loop of self-reference. The seeker says, "When will I find it?" Truth says, "What is it that assumes that I am missing?" That question changes everything. Because when you stop treating the monad as an object in the distance, you begin to notice how much of your suffering came from the belief that you were other than what it is. And that is where the real shift begins. Not when the seeker becomes perfect. Not when the mind gathers enough insight. Not when you finally earn the right to arrive. But when the center that keeps saying "I am not there yet" is no longer taken as the truth of what you are. Then the whole search softens. And in that stillness, what was never absent no longer needs to be found. If this journey spoke to you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone ready to experience life beyond thought. Comment below. What changed in you when you stopped chasing and started seeing? I read every comment. If you would like to support my work directly, you can do so at buymeacoffee.com/MagnumOpus333. Or you can explore some original merchandise at my Teespring store online. The link is in the description below. Remember, your consciousness is the key that unlocks reality. Let's keep unlocking it together. Thank you for watching. Until next time.